A very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining our Homeopathy 24/7 podcast. We are going to be speaking to an array of international guests who will share their knowledge and experiences of homeopathy with you. We will discuss all types of subjects such as remedies, symptoms, and stories of health. No matter where you are with your homeopathic journey, we aim to inspire you on your quest to natural health and living. The podcast is brought to you by Greensmith, the founder of Homeopathy 24/7, which is a global platform connecting you with a homeopath wherever you are in the world, 24 hours a day. So let's get started with today's chat. Please welcome Mary Greensmith.
Hello, it's so lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm really pleased to welcome again Dr. Anthony de Pontes. Nice to see you, Anthony. How are you doing?
Wonderful, Mary. It's afternoon here. It's probably a bit morning for you. It's going well. It's going well.
Perfect. And of course, it's summer for you at the moment, is it? So it's nice and warm weather.
The aircons are on. Yes, Mary.
Excellent. So you are talking to us today about Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism, and what can homeopathy help with in these diagnoses?
I want to start maybe 5 to 10 years ago. I was a battling homeopath, doing what I could, and thyroid, what is that? Didn't know anything about thyroid. And then what happened? I decided to do a functional medicine course, and all the lights went on, and then I saw, my wife has Hashimoto's. Okay, it was like boom, and everything changed, and now I could pick up all the patients just by looking at them that got thyroid. And I wasn't good at it yet, but after a couple of years, I was ace on it, but still. They weren't coming through the door every single day. I must tell you, the last 2 years, 3 years, I'm exaggerating a bit, but maybe, at least once a week, there's a hashish patient, and they don't know they've got hashish. So the diagnosis is, well, in South Africa anyway, they'll just tell you about hypothyroidism. One of the big things is that the medical profession, they do such basic testing that you don't know that you've got hashish. And the doctor will say to you, listen, your labs are normal, or they're kind of normal, no worries, or it's a bit low, just take the thyroid hormone and it'll be good, but it's not. So that's what goes on. And what happens is these poor patients for 5, 10 years, they go on like that, being told everything is fine, and that's okay. But for a lot of people, the doctor says, I'm fine. But, when you take stock, I'm not feeling so good today. I'm tired. Why am I always tired or depressed or constipated or whatever those symptoms are? So when you mix the two together and you use a bit of common sense, you've got to say, hey, there's something here, And I was really lucky with my wife, who was I affectionately call her my lab rat. Okay, so I was able to observe her in a way that you couldn't observe a normal patient. And we're talking the physical symptoms, we're talking the emotional symptoms as well. These emotional symptoms in hashies are the most important. And this is something that I've kind of like developed the last 2 years. Is if we start off and you were to ask me, so, what is Hashimoto's and what are the causes of Hashimoto's? I might start by saying something like this. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune disease, and it's affecting the thyroid. Often it can start off with a hypothyroidism, so an underfunctioning thyroid. So you're tired, you're cold, you're depressed, you're constipated, you're just like, that type of thing. And you don't know why. And there's actually, if you look in your environment, there's no reason for you to be depressed or those things, but that's how your physical body is manifesting. And if you add the autoimmune component, and you're probably going to think I'm crazy here, but maybe I'm a bit dramatic, but I want to punch it home for you. So what is an autoimmune thyroiditis? We're talking now about a hypothyroid, so it's a low thyroid, but there's autoimmune component. So what does that mean? Watch me now. If you on the other side of the screen, Mary, and you see me doing this to myself, you're going to think, hey, that guy is crazy. Well, I am, because anyone is crazy if they are bashing their head in. Okay, but that's actually what is happening with autoimmune thyroiditis. Your body is attacking itself.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we look at that, that is the physical manifestation. They will test antibodies. If they test antibodies, okay, and you'll see that the thyroid is being attacked. So that is the physical manifestation. But where does that come from? Now, as a homeopath, you've got the different bodies, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body. And in this case, I'm saying the emotional body has an effect on the physical body. So before your body can get to this manifestation, something has happened in the emotional.
Okay.
Now, I'll come back to that, and that's what I'm going to use as my root cause. Let's get on to something maybe a bit more familiar to people who might have just been diagnosed with hashes, or even if they've had hashes for a while. And that's what I'll call the common causes. So the ladies are sitting around at a tea party or something like that, and, I went to the doc, and he says I've got Hashimoto's, and, it's because of that viral infection that I had like 4 years ago. It hasn't cleared up. It's like a stealth viral infection, and it's affected my thyroid. Or they might say, my sex hormones are out of balance, too much estrogen, and that's affecting the thyroid, like that. Or, I've got a nutritional deficiency. I've got to boost up my diet because I'm lacking in selenium. Anyway, some type of component like this. There is a physical lack, or like I said, a viral or even a toxicity. And this is something that people can get their heads around. That makes perfect sense for a tea party and a good conversation, and that you can get that in your head, and it makes sense. So those are the common causes, and that can take quite a while to resolve. But what I've noticed is that when those issues are resolved, the person they are better. Let's not joke around. Or they are better, but they're not perfect. They are not healed. The antibodies might still be high, or they might be getting times where I am down in the dumps, or my thyroid function is low. So now what? I've done everything the doctor said. Your thyroid levels might have even improved so much. And then tomorrow, life event happens. You lose a parent, you lose your job, you get stressed out, whatever. And you almost crumble to begin. So you get these ups and these downs, and these ups and these downs. And over many years, the Hashi's patients, well, that's just life, and that's normal. And they've got this understanding, this belief that, well, it can't be cured. And those buzzwords are buzzing around. It's incurable, etc., etc. So now I want to bring in the root cause, because I believe if you can pull that root cause out, you can change everything. You can change your hashes, and you can be cured of your hashes. Now, there's a few issues here, because after you've been struggling with this illness, say, for 1 or 2, or so many people are suffering with it 5, 10, 15 years, their expectation is, well, I'm stuck with it. And you've got to change that expectation. I'm telling you, you can heal it, but we've got to go to the root cause. If we don't go to the root cause, we're just going to be going around and around. And, well, actually, for some people, they're quite fine with that.
Yes.
Talk a bit about the root cause. So this is a hypothesis. I haven't seen it written anywhere in literature, but this is what I've been seeing. And, I started a homeopathic and functional medicine Facebook group called Homeopathy and Functional Medicine for Hashimoto's.
Okay.
And all the stories coming out of there, what I'm talking to you right now is what people have been experiencing. So it's been a magnifying glass on that for me. And so now we get, and all these ladies are saying, well, we've done all this and we've done all this, and we're still struggling. So now enter the root cause. And this root cause part is quite difficult for the regular person, because so many people aren't in touch with their emotions, or, whoa, emotions, that's a hectic thing. Let me shy away from that type of thing, right? So if we look at this root cause, it's the cause that caused your emotional body to shut down. A trauma, a stress, as I said, you lost a family member. Actually, in Hashi's, a lot of it goes around sexual abuse that occurred with these ladies when they were girls, things like that. And their body shuts down almost as a survival mechanism. I can't go there, it was too painful. right?
Yeah.
But they've got to carry on living. So what shuts down? If you look at the thyroid, the neck area, it's the area of expression. I'm talking, I'm expressing myself here, okay? Creativity and expression. Well, in the emotional, because of that traumatic event that happened, that shuts down totally. And so often they're not aware of it. Hey, I'm going through life. This is fine. Oh, this is the way it has to be, or this is my lot in life, or whatever they're experiencing. Okay. So they shut themselves down. We were just talking a bit earlier about the mindset change. Okay. And part of this treatment is that, but it's so subtle. I don't, go and say, okay, well, today we're going to be talking about mindset. But when a full hashish cure can take maybe 3 years, depending on how damaged goods the person is. And in that 3 years, I'm trying to get them to change their mindset, trying to see the glass half full and not half empty, like that.
Okay, so are you saying, sorry, can I just interrupt and saying, are you saying that Hashimoto's causes you perhaps to have a more negative mindset, or the negative mindset might be one of the causes of the diagnosis?
Let's see. I'm saying that because of the trauma that has happened to you, you've shut down.
Okay? That happens.
If I say to you, yes. So if I say to you, I'm talking to someone else, and I say, hey, I just had a conversation with Mary. They say, yes, I know Mary. She's always so bubbly and upbeat. And say, are we talking about the same Mary? Because this Mary I spoke to today was a bit down and negative. Well, I didn't know that yesterday or 2 months ago or whatever, something happened to you. So it does shut you down. If we look at the physiology of how that happens, you've got the adrenaline and the cortisol that shuts the feeling off. Okay. And so because of this, the person is just limping along.
Yeah.
Now, ta-da, let's enter homeopathy. And if you're new to homeopathy, this might sound like, hey, this guy's a bit crazy. How can he put so much emphasis on these remedies? But Mary, we know, being seasoned homeopaths, that those little white pills do absolutely amazing things. And so I use remedies for the root cause, obviously for the regular causes as well. Okay, but now the root cause is like my baby. That's where I get my thrill from. To be able to see the person do a 360-degree turnaround, okay, where that lady says, wow, you know what, I don't have that anxiety anymore at night, or I'm just so thankful that I can have that relationship again with my husband, or, it changes them. And so, yes.
So I was just going to ask, is this what makes homeopathy special, in the fact that we're not just giving something that helps the thyroid, we are giving something that helps self-esteem, that helps recover from grief, that helps just you be more comfortable in the life that you live. Is that the difference with homeopathy and other medicines?
That is one of the differences, Mary. So, and again, depending how well seasoned, this is just my opinion, hey? Depending how well seasoned your patient is with homeopathy, if you don't know much about homeopathy and they come in and got these problems, and I say, oh, take this and it'll remove your guilt, or take this and, your anger will be removed. They're probably not going to come back. Hey, that person's crazy. But if you've had time to educate them on homeopathy and how the remedies and how the different potencies are able to work at the different levels, and then even go one better, when they experience it and they take the little white pill and they're like, hey, in 15 minutes I was smiling again, then you've got a patient for life almost. But so using these, exactly like you said, often there's a grief, often there's a sexual abuse, and using homeopathy in like really high potencies, it just turns it around. Okay. So we're not just talking about low, medium, or high potency. We're talking about very high potencies. Mm-hmm. And it does exactly what you say there, when the grief or the anger or it changes.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the change in the mindset, change in the emotional level, will help the hormone levels change in the body, which then leads to recover of the thyroid.
You got it, exactly. And we can go deep dive into the physiology of how the adrenaline or the cortisol or whatever the down regulates the thyroid.
Yeah.
Or how too much estrogen down regulates the thyroid as well. Okay, so when you can clear those out, then you've got it set.
So let me just ask, Anthony, what do mainstream medicine do for Hashimoto's? Yes. What can they do? Because what I'm thinking is, of course, if you're changing the hormone level, if you're altering the thyroid, if you're affecting it, but the emotion doesn't change, is it always going to come back? But I'm not. Tell me what they do in usual Western medicine. What do they offer?
So this is like a double-edged sword, and I'll tell you right away, I'm a bit biased, but you can't do without the Western medicine to start off with. Why? Yeah. Because some of these ladies have got like really low thyroid hormone levels. Okay, so even though it's a synthetic drug, it's kind of allowing you to function. Yeah. Right. So you're limping around instead of being in a wheelchair type thing, if you hear what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. But at least I say, hey, at least I'm limping around.
Yeah.
So the thyroid levels are maybe within a kind of semi-okay range. But that's what you're getting.
Okay. So are the Western, normal doctors saying, okay, you've got this disease, we can give you a drug that will improve your life a little bit, but it's not going to solve it? Is that what they're offering?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're offering, and you will be on that medication for the rest of your life. What traditionally happens is, we're gonna adjust your levels up a bit, and then something else will happen. Oh, we're going to adjust them down a bit, up, down. You're doing the thyroid dance.
Yes.
So the way I'm treating the patients is I'm saying to them, stay on your medication.
Yeah.
Because clinically speaking, you're going to feel better when your levels start to get more normalized. And what happens now if your levels go too high? Why are your levels going too high? Well, maybe the work that we've been doing in the background, the common causes and even sometimes the root causes, is opening it up so that that emotion or that shock or that trauma is not pushing everything down, and your body can start reintegrating and it starts to make its own thyroid hormone again. Okay? So then there's a possibility that you don't have to take the synthetic thyroid hormone. Okay? And that's why I say it can take up to 3 years for you to get a Hashi's cure, because the first year or two, or maybe 1.5, you are dealing with those common causes.
Yes.
And then after that, the majority is the emotion. Because if I say to you, Mary, you know what, you've got so much suppressed anger, you're not just going to say, oh, okay, let me get rid of it. It's going to be a struggle in your heart to get that out. The homeopathic remedy will help.
Yeah.
But it's a process, and then you're recalibrating yourself, how you perceive things. So it's a process you go through, and then you stabilize.
Okay. So it's just brilliant, isn't it? I mean, I just say thank you every day that I found homeopathy, because it just makes sense to me. It makes sense to address the cause, and it makes sense that if you can change your emotions, then your body can recover. It's a shame that so many more people don't know about this, isn't it? But so just to go back to the practicalities of using homeopathy for Hashimoto's or other thyroid diseases, what you're saying is you stay on the meds, you start taking the homeopathy, you make sure that you're monitoring exactly what's happening, because you might need to reduce your medications as your thyroid starts functioning more regularly, keeping us a better balance.
That's right on point there, Mimi. Obviously, there's other factors. I call them lifestyle factors. You want to reduce your cortisol as much as you can, your stress hormone, which means you're not going to be staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning every day. That's going to totally mess up your adrenal glands. So there's changes that people maybe are not aware of. Okay? Even being on all these blue screens and the Facebook and everything like that raises your cortisol. So if you are someone's suffering with Hashimoto's or thyroid, you've got to be really careful with that. You've got to do something else to rebalance that.
Okay.
So there's a few of those issues that you've got to look at. So you've got your environment, you've got the outside medication you're taking, you've got your emotional body, and you can't just spring this on someone. Okay, in the first week we're going to sort this all out. That's going to be overload. The person's going to be running for the hills. So it's a slow, gentle introduction.
And of course, what this means is that you're discussing a lot of aspects that the patient is going to be taking responsibility for. So it's no longer, look, doctor, you look after my health. It's actually, you've got to look after your health yourself. You've got to be aware of all these things.
100% right. The model that so many people have been brought up in is exactly how you say, doctor, look after my health. So then when they come to me, I'm trying to give it back to them in small little bite-sized pieces that they can manage.
Yes.
We talk about in homeopathy and the fever. The regular person is like, oh my God, my child's got a fever, and they're going to panic. If you can just change that education around, they're like, wow, my kid's got a fever, wonderful. We are burning up the toxins, or we are stimulating the immune system,
Yeah. And it's just these conversations, isn't it? And having that and just putting forward the fact that, most mums know that after a fever, after a virus, their child really blooms and grows physically and emotionally. A lot of changes take place after that has occurred. So it makes sense for a lot of people that the way that our bodies react normally is for our own protection, is to help build our immunity. So obviously, the more that we can talk about, actually, we're going to teach you more about your body. You're going to be learning how your body reacts and what is a good sign. And actually what the sign means just makes sense in overall health education, doesn't it?
It's such an underdeveloped or underutilized field.
Yeah. We've got a lot more chatting to do.
Bring it on, Mary. Bring it on. Can you see this makes me feel alive?
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see it. And I know that you've got a really thriving Hashimoto's group now on Facebook, and you're talking to a lot of people about it, which obviously helps you, as you said, because you are understanding that stories are being repeated again and again and again. But just help me understand this. Why is it increasing? Why are we seeing more of it? Are we seeing more of it because the testing's better, or are we seeing more of it because our world's changing? What's happening?
I think it's a bit of both. If we look, the testing is getting better, or the word is getting out there. I see it in my group. Now, the ladies are saying to the doctor, don't just do a TSH-T4. I want the antibodies done. Yeah. Now we have the problem that insurance doesn't want to pay for that. But that is changing. Okay. If we look from the perspective of our food, of our hormones, almost everybody and their dog, if they're female, they've been on contraception. Okay? That's a big no-no. And if you add to that the fact maybe that your mother has got an autoimmune disease, that's the tipping point. Okay, and then you add to where you might have a stress when you are 25 or 30 or whatever it is, and then you go into the hashes. So you can just maybe be hypothyroid, although the stats say 90% of hypothyroid is hashes. Where I am, I haven't seen that number to be so high, but it definitely is a high number. So you've got the hypothyroid combined with the autoimmune.
And that's what Hashimoto's is. Can you just tell me where the constipation fits in here?
Okay, so if we have a look at, let's take it to the extreme, okay? So we've got someone who is hyperthyroid. They've got too much thyroid hormone. And what are they like? They're anxious, they're moving around all the time, they're jittery, okay, everything is moving. Okay? Great energy, too much energy actually, okay? So if we have a look, how does your bowel move? It's the peristalsis movement that moves the stool out. Okay?
Yeah.
Now let's go to the hypothyroidism. Yeah. Your thyroid is involved in stimulating mitochondria, which releases energy in your body. Now, if you're hypothyroid, then you haven't got enough of that. I'm tired. I haven't got enough energy going through my body. Oh, how am I going to get the energy to move the bowel? Mm-hmm. You really have to aggravate those nerves by taking a laxative to get them to move. All right. So that's why you get the constipation. That's why you get the coldness. If you say, oh, I'm cold. Okay, let's say you're right there in the UK and it's cold. It's like, Mary, go and run around in the garden. You run around the garden, you come back, your cheeks are red and you're warm again. You've got things moving. You've got the metabolism moving. So it's got to do with that.
Okay, excellent. It's just brilliant to be able to just bounce questions off you and just understand the relationships. But obviously we can put the link to your group under our podcast here so people can come and find you and find your website as well to come and talk to you or pass your details on to more people.
Thank you.
Excellent. Lovely talking to you, Anthony. It's been fantastic just learning a little bit more about this. And, we've got so many things to cover about the symptoms that people are seeing and the symptoms that people aren't looking for to bring it all together. So thank you for helping us with that.
Great. Any day, anytime.
Thank you, Anthony, for coming today and talking to us more about Hashimoto's and homeopathy. It is such an eye-opener, and so many people are going to be interested in all of this. Next week, I'm just going to be talking about aggravations and provings and just discussing what this means and what we can do about it and what to interpret with our symptoms. I look forward to seeing you then.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and look forward to listening to our next one. Please don't forget to follow our podcast on your chosen channel, and please do leave us a review so we can continue to share homeopathy with as many people as possible. If you do have any questions, please do reach out to us on any of our social platforms mentioned in the show notes. We at Homeopathy 24/7 hope to empower you on your natural health journey.